Hey everyone, thank you guys for joining me again this week as part of Travel Massive Live and the Toronto chapter. As most of you know, my name is Will and I'm one of the co-organizers of Toronto Travel Massive and content creator behind the travel blog and YouTube channel Going Awesome Places. It's wicked to see so many of you guys on with us, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the Travel Massive platform. I hope you guys are doing well during this holiday period, and I can't believe and also can't wait for 2020 to wrap up, and I'm looking forward to 2021. So with everyone that's on the stream, where are you guys watching from? I'm curious where in the world you are, and I see Wendy from Vancouver, Sabrina from Toronto. Welcome, welcome. And let's check. Let's check Facebook and YouTube. It's great to have you on. I can't believe we've been doing almost a full year of these live streams. It's definitely been different that we haven't been able to do in-person hangouts and meetups. I miss all of you guys. So Maz, Toronto, how's it going? Maureen from Toronto. It's great to have you. We'll give it a few seconds here as everyone joins in. All right, so let's just talk about a couple of housekeeping notes. These are kind of the ones I go through every time. Miss you, Solmaz. So questions. We love getting you guys involved. Talia from Toronto, welcome. We love getting you guys involved, and we want as much engagement as possible for this session because we have so many amazing panelists for this talk on wellness tourism. So after the panel discussion, we'll be jumping into a Q&A. So as you're listening and learning lots from the group and you have questions, just pop them in. I'll be kind of following along and putting together these lists of questions that we can ask the panelists afterwards. So any burning questions, anything you're curious about, no question is dumb or anything at all. Just want you guys to be really engaged. So that's going to be super important today. In terms of recordings, they will all be available on the Travel Massive platform afterwards. You can rewatch them on Facebook as part of the Toronto Travel Massive page. It'll all be on there. So if you need to drop out afterwards, don't worry because you'll be able to watch. If there's anything that you missed, you can rewatch afterwards as well. So don't worry. All right, Trez, how's it going? Edney, welcome to today's panel. So today's session is on wellness tourism, and it's a huge growth sector in our industry, especially when you think about this in a post-COVID world. We've gathered to get today a team of experts in the field to tackle and discuss this topic. So we're going to jump right in. To lead and host this panel, I'd like to introduce Alan Law. How's it going?
Hey, Will. How's it going?
Pretty good. So
Awesome.
Alan Law is from PATA Canada, and PATA is the Pacific Asia Travel Association. And as part of the Canadian chapter, Alan is a secretary and has extensive experience in the industry through his work as Director of Sales and Marketing for GLP Worldwide. Well, honestly, you guys have heard enough of me talking for the past couple sessions, so I am super happy to pass this along to Alan. Take it away, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Awesome. Thank you, Will. Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. I'm very excited to be here, moderate this discussion with our panelists. Just heard Will mentioning some names just now about who's on here, a lot of familiar names. So, and I looked at the registration list, a lot of familiar faces as well. So very excited to be here. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alan Law. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for GLP Worldwide. We're a niche tour operator specializing in small ships, unique experiences, and of course, rail journeys. But what I'm here today, though, is I am here to represent PATA Canada. PATA Canada is the Canadian chapter of the Pacific Asia Travel Association. And what we are is we're the resource for Asia and the South Pacific for the Canadian travel trade. So we're thrilled to bring you this timely and informative panel discussion on wellness tourism featuring 4 of our PATA members. So we have Kayla from the Tourism Authority of Thailand. There's Randy from Korea Tourism Organization, Sandra from Tourism Malaysia, and of course, Wolf, president of Trafalgar, Cost Saver, and Brendan Vacations. But just before we get started, I want to share a little bit about what wellness tourism is and why you should care about it, especially now in our hopefully soon to be post-COVID travel world. So the Global Wellness Institute defines it as tourism designed to create space to reconnect to one's mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual wholeness. It's meant to be proactive and preventative. It's anything that can improve your health and quality of life. It's really a lifestyle choice. So really, wellness tourism can be anything from rejuvenating and relaxing experiences to active experiences, to healthy eating and meaningful connections. It includes everything from physical, mental, and spiritual activities. It's really something dedicated to the mind, body, and soul, with an emphasis on nutritious food choices, physical activities, and mental wellness. And what does that mean? So why should you care? Why should we care? Wellness tourism market, it's forecasted to continue to grow. As Will mentioned earlier, it's growing very fast. It's in fact growing faster than global tourism, as more consumers are aspiring to higher levels of wellness and incorporate this into their travels. So this is a very lucrative market. We can see that 50% of wellness tourists, they actually spend more than the average international tourist. And that's broken down into two types of travelers. There's a primary and secondary traveler. The primary takes wellness as the sole purpose of their trip, whereas the secondary traveler will want to maintain their wellness while taking any kind of trip. And the secondary traveler is what makes up the majority of the wellness market. So it's not just about going to a hardcore yoga retreat or a silent meditation ashram. That market still exists, but it's not the main focus for most wellness travelers. And of course, finally, Canada's wellness tourism is ranked 8th in the world for number of trips taken annually and expenditures. So there's definitely a demand for it. And so we at Pata Canada think that wellness tourism will be more important than ever in a post-COVID world. As our mental health has really been tested this year, there's a pent-up demand to get out, get active, and our health and our quality of life has really been the main focus of 2020. So definitely it's going to be top of mind for our consumers. So that being said, why don't we turn it over to our panelists just to get their thoughts. Now, I'm going to start with Wolf. Wolf, why don't you tell us from your experience as a tour operator, do you see a shift in traveler trends towards travel with elements of wellness?
Without any doubt, Alan, and working for a large tour operator brand such as Trafalgar, Cost Saver, and Brandon Vacations, over the years, we have seen a growth trend in both types of or three types of wellness that you have described in the intro. And really, we are mostly into the secondary type of a wellness traveler because our travelers want to experience, to learn, to meet and connect with the destinations and people, but they want to do it in a sustainable, very controlled way where they absolutely have an opportunity to connect to the local culture and to the local wellness practices, be them spiritual, be them physical, or be them mental. And we have included wellness elements in all of our programs. And you being a representative of PATA, I'm delighted to report that in 2021, every Trafalgar and Cost Saver trip in Asia has a Make Travel Matter element built in, which is really in the realm of wellness travel.
Awesome. So make travel, was it, what did you call it? Make travel matter?
It's hashtag Make Travel Matter. That means that we are giving back to the community that we are visiting. So we will connect either with farmers, help on a cooperative farm, support, say, a women's cooperative, support a school in Thailand or in Myanmar, and ensure that our guests have an opportunity to share tourism dollars not only with the destination per se, but to really support initiatives that are helping people in need, marginalized communities, or anybody else who will benefit from our guests being exposed to their situation and learning about their lifestyle.
That's amazing. That's a real connection to the local community that you're visiting.
Indeed. Yeah, indeed
Absolutely.
it is, because our three pillars for Trafalgar are real ease, real connection, and real joy. And we really try to loop it in through a variety of experiences we deliver.
Very cool. Now, Sandra, how about you guys over in Malaysia? Do you see wellness as a recent trend in your destination?
I certainly think so. I think wellness has been a growing trend globally, and Malaysia has definitely been swept up in that wave. It's a growing trend in Malaysia. It's become a lifestyle, and not just for visitors, but also for Malaysians. So wellness facilities, retreats, and experiences, and I have to stress the word experience because, it's pretty much rampant throughout the country. In fact, Malaysia has been listed as one of the top 10 wellness tourism markets in the Asia Pacific region. So really, really doing well in the way of wellness.
Excellent. How about Randy? What are you guys seeing over in South Korea?
We've seen a big change in the last couple, not just in the last 10 years, but even within the last couple of years. When I first started with Korea, people would ask questions like, what type of wellness activities do you have? And I wouldn't get that question very often, but I'm finding it more and more now. And it's gotten to the point within the last, I want to say 3 years or so, that our major tour operator partners, when they're creating packages, the new packages almost always involve some type of health and wellness within. So we think that that's become a really, really important thing. Years ago, it was all about culture and UNESCO. That used to be the big thing. Now it's all about what type of wellness can I add to that? We've seen enough of this type of palace, although palaces are important. We've seen 3 or 4 of them. Let's just add one, and then let's add an afternoon at the spa, or let's put in some type of, Korean Oriental or medical doctor visit. Or there's some of the other ones where women's groups have been asking more and more about certain markets and districts for shopping for certain types of cosmetic products. And of course, non-invasive procedures is probably the best way to put it. So there's so much involved in health and wellness. It's really, really changed a lot over the last, I want to say, 10 years or so.
Very cool. I'm just thinking now about my own travels, even for business. I always try to find a place to stay where there's a CrossFit gym nearby, because that's sort of, I always need to get there as part of my trip. That's always part of my planning, to be near that gym. But anyways, Kayla, I'm sure there's plenty of wellness happening over in Thailand. Why don't you tell us a little bit, what do you see as a recent trend over there?
Well, what I would say in terms of wellness, it's not new and it's not a trend in Thailand. This has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, I would say healthy cuisine and traditional practices are part of everyday life in Thailand. And if you have been to Thailand, you know what I'm saying. Just to give you an example, massages can be found anywhere, from local markets to shopping malls. Even if you want to go and visit an attraction like the reclining Buddha at Wat Po, there's a school of traditional medicine close by, and you can stop and get a quick massage before you continue on your excursion for the balance of the day. So, that's very much part of the Thailand landscape. What is a trend that we're seeing more and more, especially in recent years, is a combination of Western techniques with traditional practices. So you're seeing that the industry is starting to evolve in Thailand and bringing in some other practices that are not just solely traditional. So that's probably a newer aspect of it.
Awesome. So Randy, you touched on this earlier about sort of the non-invasive procedures and things like that. What type of wellness activities are happening over that? There are ones that are getting more popular in South Korea. What do you see there?
That really, you're talking about the non-invasive procedures.
Yeah, I mean, that's one example.
That I can tell you where it stems as one example. Usually that's coming from Korea being known for its plastic surgery. It's not something that everybody likes to talk about, but that's where the non-invasive procedures come in, because a lot of people will say Korea is an expert when it comes to that type of thing. Well, we're also experts in non-invasive as well. Some of the things that we've seen popular in the Canadian market, so I'm going to specifically talk about North America just for a moment, has been temple stays. This is something that's been, I don't want to just say popular, but has exploded just in the number of tour operators that are carrying this type of package. I want to say almost media coverage that we received. So it's more about inner peace, wellness, overnight stays. So you spend one night as a Korean Buddhist monk. You learn their ways of life. You would, for example, you would check in around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You would eat a traditional meal, no meat whatsoever. You would finish every last grain of rice, and to make sure that, of course, you're not wasting anything, they would actually put water into the bowl so that every grain is rinsed out as well. Remember, emptiness is fulfillment. That's the idea behind that. And then from there, you would have a couple of chores. You, of course, you would be dressed just as every other monk would be. And then after your meal, after all of your chores are finished, you would retire for the evening, because again, you have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do your 108 bows. You do sleep on the floor just as they do. Like, it is a true immersive experience. And I think one of the reasons that that's become really popular, it has to do with the fact that it's unique. It's not something that you can do in not only every destination, but it's something that people can say, for example, oh, I've done that. Everybody can say I've stayed in, or I've been to a Four Seasons, or I've stayed at this luxury hotel, but not everybody's going to have a story behind. And remember, that's what we're selling, stories, a story behind their experience at a temple. So that's one of the most popular ones that we have for Korea, but we've got some others as well. It really depends on their interest, and that's where you really have to listen to the consumer and find out what they're interested in. So yeah, we've got a lot of experiences, but the one, if I'm talking about one very popular one today, is going to be the temple stay.
That's awesome, because I remember when I went to Korea, I did that, and I thought that was an absolutely fantastic experience, like nothing I've ever tried before. So that was very cool. Sandra, how about you guys? Do you have anything to add for Malaysia? What are the most popular things, or what's getting more popular in terms of wellness activities?
Sure. Typically what's popular in the way of wellness are experiences unique to Malaysia. For Malaysia, wellness is very much influenced by our multicultural and diverse populace and our natural landscapes, because wellness, as we all know, spans a much wider spectrum than these days than just going to the spa. So I guess people want something more experiential, like going off the grid or finding some kind of escape or being one with nature, or connecting, like Wolf said earlier, connecting with the locals. And Malaysia has been so blessed in that arena with 130 million-year-old rainforests and our secluded islands and beaches. And Malaysia is also very culturally diverse. We are home to Asia's 3 main races: the Malays, the Chinese, the Indians, over 20 indigenous races. And this diversity reflects upon our wellness offerings that are uniquely Malaysian. Again, if you want to say what's really, really unique to Malaysia, I mean, besides the various wellness offerings and the wellness facilities and outlets, would be our homestay. Again, giving back to the community. It's not like billeting like in many other countries. In Malaysia, homestay is like Randy was saying, an immersive experience. You go into a homestay. It is a government-assisted program for the rural communities. So you go into a homestay, you eat like them, you dress like them, you become part of the family, really. And it's so whilst you're giving, you're also receiving so much from that experience. Many people have even tried to get married in a homestay facility, and of course, when you do that, the entire village attends your wedding. The entire village gets together to prepare your wedding feast, and because everybody's family. So that would be one of the most unique immersive experiences in Malaysia in terms of culture, in terms of giving back. Because I think like the latest trend in travelers is wanting to give back, especially amongst Canadians. I mean, they want to tread lightly on the earth. They want to know that they're somehow giving back, somehow helping, somehow sustaining the community, the environment, and everything else.
Isn't that what travel is all about? I mean, to really immerse yourself in the local culture and to come back with the stories that it's not just another site that you've seen, but a true story about connecting with real people. They're telling you what's happening in their lives, and you become part of that. That's amazing. That's great. How about Wolf? So is everything that we've talked about here in terms of the activities, is that in line with what your clients are looking for when they're planning to go to Asia? Is that the type of experience that you guys are offering, or is that?
Indeed it is, Alan. Indeed it is. And just for the benefit of some of our audience who may not be familiar with names Trafalgar and Cost Saver, we do group travel, and our groups in Asia can be up to 26, from 12 to 26. We also do modular travel in Asia, which can be purchased as individual travel experience. So I will first reflect on the group wellness experiences that are very popular with our guests. Activities, Tai Chi in a park in Bangkok, Tai Chi in a park in Beijing. So activities that are bringing the group together, as that is very, very important for the DNA of our business. Then cycling. I was recently in Vietnam with our group, and then doing the cycling through the rural parts of Vietnam near Hoi An, meeting a family that makes sleeping mattresses, meeting a family that makes udon. That is the type of experience that our guests like to get their hands on and get very, very much involved. Kayaking in Halong Bay, I mean, it is absolutely amazing. Japan, our very popular destination, one of our stays is in a traditional ryokan, and there is an onsen nearby, a hot spa, a thermal bath, and then we do the traditional onsen experience with followed by a tea delivered in a traditional way. So, without those experiences, I think our guest would almost not even look at traveling with us, but they know that we put them together, we create them in a very, very safe and controlled manner, which is certainly going to be important in the post-COVID travel world. And they've learned to expect that, and we are researching, engaging our travel directors and our local specialists to come up with more. And what we're always intending on doing is not to involve necessarily hospitality providers of services. We like to go to the authentic people from the community who can deliver those services to our guests.
Like, just talking about these experiences makes me really miss traveling. I think it's been almost a year since I've gone anywhere, and I'm going crazy.
I agree with you.
So, Kayla, like as you mentioned earlier, Thailand comes to mind, or not just comes to mind, but it's been doing for hundreds of years when we talk about wellness travel. But is there an activity that doesn't seem to be very well known right now to tourists, but you expect will gain more popularity post-COVID?
You're giving me a tough question, Alan. Very much so. I think in terms of Thailand, many people are familiar with a lot of the practices or experiences that are available, such as yoga. Excuse me, just a sec. Clear my throat. Yoga, meditation, active experiences such as kayaking, rock climbing, trekking. I think people know about these opportunities in Thailand. But over the past year, in speaking with a lot of the trade and the media, what I have found is many people are not familiar with the level of luxury that is available in Thailand in terms of spas and experiences such as that. They're also not so familiar with medical and dental opportunities that exist. And I know people say to me quite often, "Are you kidding? Thailand actually has that? I didn't know." So I think that many of our experiences are well known, but that aspect perhaps not so much. Wellness has really become multi-dimensional, and it has so many different meanings to different people. And as you listen to all my partners here, from Randy, Wolf and Sandra, all of these experiences are very, very special. And I think that Thailand is a destination that has an experience to match anybody's needs as well as price point. That's what I would add to it.
Excellent. So tell me more about this medical and dental. What is that all about?
Well, Thailand has been known as a center in Southeast Asia for top medical services. And I'm not really advocating that you should go there and get surgery, although you can. But one thing that is very popular with people from North America is going for medical checkups. And I've tried that, and I can attest to you how fantastic it is. You go in early in the morning, and by 10:30 you have every test done, and by noon they give you a report. You can either have it on a disc or a printed version of all your lab results, and they give this to you, and you can bring it back to your doctor in Canada. So that's quite amazing opportunity. And dental, I mean, if you wanted to do something like whitening your teeth or checkups, it really is at a fraction of a the cost of what you find here. I remember about 2 years ago, I was in Koh Samui and I met all these people at one of the resorts, and they were all Australian. And I asked them, well, what was the purpose of coming? And each one of the member of the group said it was for dental work. And I was like, really? You came all the way to get your teeth worked on? But then I got a lesson in the affordability of it. So that's something many people aren't aware of.
That makes sense. So Sandra, how about over in Malaysia? Like, are there any wellness activities that sort of the locals have been doing that's not well known to tourists, but you expect will sort of come to the forefront and gain more popularity?
Very much like Thailand. I mean, Malaysia has all the wellness facilities that the world has actually. But like again, Malaysia always tries to make it unique to Malaysia, and I'm sure this new product that I came across is not well known just yet, because in fact I myself just found out about it yesterday. It's something called Urutan Malaysia, which actually loosely translated it's Malaysia's signature massage, which combines the traditional wellness practices of the Malay, Chinese, Indian, and all the indigenous communities of Malaysia. So that's definitely something new. But post-COVID, I think many of us are going to be prioritizing not just our health and our physical well-being, but also our spiritual and our state of mind, our mental health, and our self-growth in general. And many might not know, but Malaysia also is home to many religious and spiritual retreats. And they're very, very popular in Malaysia. I was on my way up to Mount Kinabalu a few years back to view Mount Kinabalu, and it was like about an hour and a half ride by road. And along the way to the viewpoint, just this 1.5 hour ride, I saw about over 20 Catholic retreat facilities. This is just crazy. And of course, my aunt actually tried one of these facilities. She went in. It was like she went in for 7 days. It was a silent retreat, and we made so much fun of her because, she's one person who cannot keep her mouth shut. It was like this, for a silent retreat. And then I also came across this other retreat called the Kanchara Forest Retreat, which is a wellness facility for healing, detoxification, mindful contemplation, total relaxation, all based on Buddhist teachings. And, because we are a multicultural, multi-religious country, you'll see retreats like this, spiritual retreats, religious-based or spiritual retreats like this pretty much throughout the country, based on Hinduism, based on Buddhism, Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, what have you, Sikhism even. So, that's very unique to Malaysia, and that may be products that many people might not know about. Same like Thailand, Malaysia also is one of the leading medical tourist destinations, and many people come to Malaysia again, like Thailand. They come to Malaysia for like checkups. Because I did that, like I think 2 years ago, got my checkup, got it on a disc within like a couple of hours, and brought it back to my doctor. Very, very simple. And also a few years back, one of the travel agents in Canada actually sent, I wish I could have seen the before and after, a 26-year-old guy. Okay, he went for plastic surgery. I don't know. He did some 5 different procedures done to his face.
Wow.
And and he was so pleased with the results that you can stay in Malaysia for 3 months without a visa. He said he did all his procedures, went out for a week, came back for more. So that is definitely an option. People also go for dental work because as you know, dental is so expensive here, especially when it comes to cosmetic dentistry, and so we get quite a number of people coming into Malaysia for dental work as well. And that's Malaysia. So
wow, who'd have thought? I mean, just talking to Randy, I thought cosmetic surgery automatically you think Korea, but now we have another option, Malaysia.
No, that we, Alan, we need to have a complete separate session on that subject. We can add to the stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, Randy, you mentioned about the temple stays. So what else is happening there, or is that you see that as sort of the biggest thing to come forward after this, in the sort of the post-COVID world?
I would say it's the biggest thing, but there are others that are you're looking for more the undiscovered, the
Yeah.
next up and coming. So
Yeah.
with that, there's a lot of traditional Korean medicine. So you're looking at the balance between yin and yang. They look specifically at certain types of blood, your personality. They look at anybody who's familiar with red ginseng, for example. So if you've ever had red ginseng, I'm told I'm not the person for it. Apparently, I'm hot-blooded. I'm not sure what that means, but it's too much yin or too much yang. I'm not sure which one it is, and it doesn't balance with me. It's not for everyone, I was told. But they try and give you an accurate balance of what you need more in your diet, how to proper balance your body between different types of acidity, that type of thing. So they go through all of that with you. But further to that would be your healing and wellness retreats. They do exist in Korea. A lot of people are not aware of this. But if I'm to give one up and coming that a lot of people are not familiar with or haven't done, I'm going to say it's got to be Korean saunas. And the reason for that is a lot of Canadians are not, and even Americans are not interested in visiting because I have to get naked with everybody else in my group. Yes, okay, I understand. But an experience like
Yeah, tell the
none
truth,
other.
Randy.
It is, but it's an experience like none other. And the reason I say that is because once you go into the communal area and they do give you a pair of shorts and a t-shirt that you're able to wear from this particular spa with branding, there is they have different rooms at different temperatures. They have an ice room. They might have one at 20 degrees. They might have one at 30 degrees. They have another one at 40 degrees. Then they have different hot tubs at different temperatures. They have a scrub room where you can pay somebody, I'm not going to get into detail, but pay somebody to scrub so that you are, I want to say, as smooth as a baby. And we'll leave it at that. There is a lot to do in a Korean spa. They are very popular for Koreans. They have been for a number of years. And it's also one of the reasons that you find Koreans have such good skin at the same time. But it's true. It's true. But the last one is going to be airports. In Incheon Airport, actually, there is a sauna, and you can spend the night there. A lot of Koreans will do that. If they're having, you may find that there's construction work being done in their apartment. They can't get used to the sound, or the water's going to be shut down because they're cleaning something for. You'll find a lot of Koreans will go and spend the night at the sauna. This is a very common occurrence. They'll go and visit in-laws. Oh, we're not going to stay with them. There's no room, so they'll go and stay in a sauna. This occurs even at the airport. There's places to store your luggage, etc. So you wake up, you're refreshed, and you're on with the rest of your day. So I'm not recommending you spend the night, but I am recommending you do give a Korean sauna a try.
Awesome. So, okay, with all these new sort of these new undiscovered things that you guys are mentioning, so I'll start with Sandra. I mean, has the destination used different health and wellness in your marketing strategies to drive tourism now?
Basically, for Malaysia, wellness is very much a niche market. So we have not used wellness in our marketing strategies to push numbers. We instead treat it very much like a niche product, and our marketing efforts have been focused on specific target markets, which include primary wellness travelers whose travel focuses mainly on wellness. And that said, we have been promoting Malaysia's health and wellness through wellness festivals, which include facilitators, instructors, wellness professionals from all over the world. One such festival is the Murfest, MURFEST, considered Asia's premier wellness and lifestyle festival, and it offers a transformation experience through music, dance, yoga, meditation, and a combination of modern and traditional healing practices. And this is done over a course of 3 days. This festival has been running for almost 7 years now, and really, really popular and attract people from all over the world.
Awesome. Randy, how about you guys? You guys been using health and wellness in marketing strategies?
Yes and no, a little bit of both. We have guides just for health and wellness. I've got one of them that I did for today's research. That's last year's guide, but you get the idea. We do a lot of guides when it comes to this type of thing. When we're looking to promote within the North American market, we see ourselves as an all-in-one destination. We have something for everyone, whether you're there for a stopover on your way to Malaysia or Thailand, for example, or whether you're looking at UNESCO or culture, or there's so many things to do in Korea that we try and focus on the fact we have something for everyone. Just wellness, we're trying to incorporate that into as many of our tour operators' products as possible, but specific advertisements and campaigns just for health and wellness, not as of yet. We're getting there. It's just a matter of time. And I think that's going to take more precedence once we're in a post-COVID world.
Yeah, makes sense. So Kayla, I don't have to ask you, but I'm
Okay,
going to.
you're going to. Well, I would say in our efforts to increase awareness of Thailand, increase visitation, wellness has been an important part of our strategy for many, many years. So anything that we do, whether it's an agent fam trip, a media fam trip, social, digital campaigns, co-op initiatives with our partners, always includes some element of wellness. We have realized the importance of it in terms of our Thailand offerings, and we believe that this will continue to increase in importance in the coming years, especially post-COVID, as everyone has already mentioned. So we believe this is really, really important. And especially, how can you go to Thailand without trying some of these things? They're also incredible. You become addicted. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. So Wolf, we touched on this earlier. You mentioned this earlier, but have you noticed more of a change in customer demand for wellness activities in a post-COVID world?
Yes, we did, and it's even in pre-COVID world. And you do recall that I have mentioned hashtag Make Travel Matter,
Yep.
and our Make a Difference Through Experiences initiative means that we want to have our guests directly support the people and places we visit. So Trafalgar has a sustainability foundation called Join Trafalgar, which is part of the Tread Right Foundation, as kind of encompasses the activities of all of the brands being part of the travel corporation. So we want to involve our guest in the three key areas, key pillars of our activities, which is people, places, and wildlife. To talk about wildlife, for instance, when in China, we go to Chengdu to the panda sanctuary and breeding farm. We go in Thailand to the elephant sanctuary, where elephants who have been retired from the service in different industries are being preserved. When it goes to the people, for instance, in Mumbai, our local city guides come from a school for street children called Salam Balak, where they study English, they study a little bit about travel, history of art, and then many of them get a job as the local city guides. So we certainly see that our guests are now expecting to have that kind of engagement and that kind of local connection and experience. In a post-COVID world, outside of those, what we are noticing is that the new bookings, new guests who are interested in traveling with us are looking a lot more for outdoor experiences. So we are bringing in a lot more walking, hiking, and it is not necessarily in the form of walking tours, but really hikes that are graded differently, cycling, as I mentioned, kayaking. And I feel that that will be the trend, because as we are getting out of the COVID world, the necessity to follow the protocols, to be more outdoors, less in indoor spaces that may not be as properly ventilated and whatnot, will certainly be a part of the trend. And another area where we are ensuring through our well-being protocols and working with our suppliers that we do the right thing is food experiences, because they're such an integral part of well-being and such an integral part of our offering that they are basically part of our Be My Guest initiative, which means that we bring our guest to, say, a local person's farm, vineyard, organic farm, where they can work together with them, where they can taste their produce, or where they can cook together. So certainly those experiences, we know how important they are, and we certainly want to deliver them and execute them in the most proper way as people are going back to traveling. But overall, when you hear everything that all of our colleagues have mentioned, I mean, there is so many topics that follow, or so many initiatives that fall under this topic. I'm kind of looking forward to this same panel in a year, after all of us spending time in Korea, Thailand, and Malaysia, and hair, teeth, skin will all look very different.
Yeah, you mentioned something, you touched on it, and actually it's sort of the elephant in the room, which we haven't addressed yet, is the health protocols. We haven't talked much about the health side of the different protocols after post-COVID, for post-COVID travel. And we know that health and safety protocols are in place in many destinations throughout Asia. I'm sure everyone here has heard enough about what the protocols are and what everyone's doing, but still, it's a main focus, and we know that'll be one of the main factors for a lot of travelers when choosing a destination, and it's going to be health and safety. So I guess without going into too much detail about what the protocols are, could you guys tell us why travelers should feel safe going to your destination, starting with Kayla?
Okay, well, Thailand actually has been quite fortunate in terms of controlling COVID since it initially occurred. And I just brought some stats that I found as of today. Since the beginning of the pandemic, there have been 4,281 infections, 60 deaths in total. Very sad to report that. And today there were 20 new cases reported. So if you think about this based on a population of 67 million, it does show that the country's efforts are working. Thailand is gradually, very, very slowly reopening to tourism. At the moment, Canadians can visit Thailand if they get one of two special visas. One is a TR and the other choice would be an STV visa. If someone is interested in visiting Thailand, they can check with the Royal Thai Embassy website, and it's constantly updated because we are optimistically, what would I say, hopeful that within the very near future, many of these restrictions will continue to lessen. In the country, there's all kinds of protocols, as you mentioned initially, Alan, so I won't go into them. But I just want you to know that Thailand is prepared for the return of travel, and they look forward to welcoming everyone to their country.
So, Kayla, I'm going to ask you something. I heard this just yesterday.
Sure.
I don't know if it's fake news or if it's real,
Okay.
but I heard that there's an option for golf course quarantine. Is that such a thing?
Yeah. Actually, okay, so I can go on. I can add a lot more information to this. Our Tourism Authority of Thailand also launched a new website, and it is, if you want to go to Thailand at this time, it will answer any questions you have regarding quarantine and the requirements. And I can provide that to anybody if they would like that information. But in terms of the news that you just mentioned, we did hear from Thailand that the plan is that there will be golf packages available where people can go. They still have to get the visa and they still have to adhere to the 14-day quarantine, but it will be within a specific golf resort, and that quarantine will take place there. So you can golf every day for 14 days,
Yes.
have your medical checks with the COVID test. But we're just waiting for the official announcements before
Okay,
we
tell
put
me
it
where
out.
to sign up.
Yeah, I know. You're on my email list. No, but we are expecting that very soon, either late this week or sometime next week.
Very cool. How about Randy? What's happening over in Korea?
Yeah, well, the reason for my sigh, this is Korea's third wave. Everybody knows when the first wave first hit Korea outside of China, everybody looked at the world, I should say, everybody looked at Korea to say, what is happening? How did they manage to flatten the curve, so to speak? Korea made headlines worldwide, drive-through testing. There was so many different and new initiatives that Korea took on. Then again, this summer, we went through our second wave. Korea is now going through their third wave, a little over 1,000 cases today on a population of 56 million people, so 55 and a half. We expect that we're going to be able to overcome this as we have the previous two. We've got a lot of measures in place without going into what those are. Why should travelers feel safe? That's really what you're after here. I mean, what is Korea doing, and why should travelers visit Korea as opposed to other destinations? Not just COVID, but in general safety. I've lived in Korea for 8 years. I've done this job for close to 10, let's call it 20 years in total. I've had more problems in Canada than I ever have in Korea, for example. It's still very much one of those places where you leave your wallet on the table in a restaurant, and if you were to come back 15 minutes later, it would be in either one of two places. One still on the same table where you left it, and there might be another family eating a meal at that same particular table, or two, it's at the front desk. I've even had it in some situations where they're chasing you down the street with the wallet, saying, "You forgot your wallet." So it does happen. It's a very safe destination. I'm not saying challenge that and go down walking down a dark alley at night type thing. It's not
Count
one of
your money.
exactly, or you're counting your paycheck in. It's just not one of those places. But it is a very safe destination that way. In terms of COVID, we've had a great success rate of being able to manage it, and we expect to be able to do the same in the future. I do want to be forthcoming in all the information, and I'm going to do the same thing that Kayla did just recently about visas. Canadian visas at this time are not being processed. You do require a visa to visit Korea at this time. Normally, there is an agreement between Korea and Canada allowing 6 months visa-free entry. However, since Canada has closed its border, Canada has closed its border to the world, Korea took that as Koreans are not allowed to enter Canada, therefore we are removing you from the visa-free entry. So as soon as Canada allows entry to the world once again, that would include Korea, Korea's visa-free entry will be, or Canada's visa-free entry to Korea will be reinstated. There will be no changes.
Right. Well, makes sense. Sandra, how about over in Malaysia? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, like the rest of the world, Malaysia was badly hit. At one point, Malaysia had like the highest numbers in Southeast Asia. But we're very, very proud to share that Malaysia has handled and is handling the pandemic really, really well. We are one of the top 5 nations globally to have successfully dealt with COVID. Domestic tourism has been thriving since June, but we very, very cautiously move forward with domestic travel only after stringent standard operating procedures were implemented throughout the industry, starting from our airports. Rapid testing has they've been running rapid testing in the airports since early May. New standard operating procedures, airports, airlines, travel operators who have introduced, sanitized travel initiatives, hotels with the clean and safe certification, local transportation, tourist attractions, pretty much, like I said, throughout the industry. We have made sure that it is safe for Malaysians to travel domestically. And whilst tourism is very, very important to Malaysia, safety is our number one priority. We are looking, and hopefully we are hoping to open borders by the second quarter of next year. We're going to start off in quarter one with our travel bubble plan between overland destinations in the Asia Pacific region, like Thailand, Brunei, Indonesia, and of course Singapore. And in the second quarter, if the first quarter is successful, the second quarter we will include other green zone areas in other destinations in the Asia Pacific region, including Korea as well. And if that is successful, then we will move into, and then we will consider opening our borders to international travel. So, hopefully all goes well.
Now, hopefully with the rollout of the vaccine globally, we should be getting there sooner rather than later. So, Wolf, how about as a tour operator, what are you guys doing to make travelers feel safe about traveling again?
Multitude of things, and let me first reflect on the fact that our challenge is that we are an international tour operator, so more of our programs are crossing the borders between the countries than programs that are focused on one particular country. So certainly well-being of our guests and our suppliers, our employees, is the most critical part of it. And we have like a simple 3-step process, which is based on the practices advised by the World Travel and Tourism organization, by World Health Organization, also endorsed by USTOA, CATO, Canadian Association of Tour Operators, and following and even superseding the best practices. If any of our potential guests is interested, they can have a look at the website. We have a 3-step process. Number 1, always on support team, so 24/7 from before you go. Distance and hygiene protocols when traveling together, and 24/7 incident response. Internally, we say we'd like travel to resume as soon as possible, but as safe as necessary. So until February, our programs are not operating. We are following very closely the development all over the world, and we believe that the travel will start in concentric circles, starting with domestic travel, followed by the travel through bubble or health corridors between Canada and particular countries where it will be easier to establish the connection. And to have that happen, we certainly look not only in the vaccine, which is certainly the best news we could have all received in our industry recently, but also we're looking at rapid testing, at technology while on travel, so different apps that either are going to be used as health passports of sorts or as communication platforms, so whatever important information can be communicated instantaneously. So it is still quite a few things to consider before we get back to offering travel to our guests. The trends that we are seeing now is that most of our new bookings are looking for longer stay in a particular destination or program. Our average stay would have been 11 days. Now we're going into 14 days average booking. And certainly people are looking for deeper, more immersive experience, and the wellness aspect of it is very, very important. So still ways to go, but lots of good news on the horizon, and the demand, as we communicate with our past guests very frequently, as we have 53% repeat travel, the demand, pent-up demand is there. We will get back on track when it is safe.
Excellent. Can't wait for that day that we get back out there again.
Totally.
So now we have some time, so let's turn it over to some questions from our audience. I see there's a few comments coming through here.
A lot of great engagement so far. You guys have all been pretty amazing. I'm going to jump right in. Randy, is there a specific name of the temple stay in South Korea that you mentioned? Is there something that you can look up, or how do you sign up?
Well, I'm going to recommend you go to one of our tour operator partners, of course. That's probably the best way to word it. Anybody who sells Korea, or I should say sells Asia, will sell Korea for the most part. Look for companies that customize packages. I think that's going to be the most important thing. If you're looking for specific names of tour operators, or sorry, not I should say temples, it depends on where they're looking. You can do anything from in the middle of a forest to mountainside, and there's actually one that's sits on the ocean side as well. One of my favorite ones, of course, sits almost smack middle in the middle of the country. It's hosted of the Tripitaka Koreana, which is a set of 22,000 wooden blocks that are said to be created by one particular monk, and one of the earliest examples of human printing presses, I should say, or human printing blocks. And so that's one of my favorites, but they're, again, throughout the country. One of the reasons that it was created in the first place is to spread the word of Korean Buddhism and to show the world the way that they live. And so, of course, they're encouraging you to stay with them. They want you to bring back part of their way of life to your home country. And hopefully you can adapt part of that into your daily routine.
That sounds amazing. And as a follow-up, are there typically a minimum number of nights, or is it just one night where you'd stay there? Or is it like a full week where you have to commit to?
And that's a good question. I've had that come up with not only media, but also consumers and tour operators in the past as well. It is not for everyone. The reason I say it is not for everyone is you do sleep on the floor. You're sleeping on about a 1.5-inch pad. You are on the floor. The floors are heated, mind you. And in some cases, you're sleeping in a communal room with other people, just as they would. It's not necessarily like you have a private ensuite, for example. It doesn't work that way. Remember, you're there to live their way of life and experience life like them. So for those who are looking and open to that type of experience, that's great. That can be a 1-night program, a 2-night program, and you can mix it up over a number of different temples. If you still want to experience part of that, but you're not willing to stay the night, they do have something called the Temple Life programs, where you get your tea ceremony with the monk. You would have your group on one time with a monk, and you would learn about meditation techniques, etc. They do offer that as well, and they typically do either a calligraphy class or perhaps they also do things like arts and crafts. So you'd make your own lotus lantern, for example. So there's an experience there, like we always advertise, for everyone.
Wow, there really is something for everyone there. Sandra, I had a question for you. You had mentioned a signature massage, the Urutan. How do you spell that, and how can people find more about it?
Okay, it's Urutan Malaysia, Urutan Malaysia, and again, it's a combination of all our various cultures into one to give people searching wellness a unique Malaysian experience. And if you want to find out more about that, you go to our website at www.malaysia.travel. And there are various links to wellness opportunities and wellness offerings through our portal.
All right, thanks for sharing that with us. That's something that I learned, and you said you learned in the past couple of days. So that's
yes, yes, yesterday.
Kayla, I have somebody from the audience that's asking about the Thai visas. You mentioned that there are 2 different types of visas that Canadians or other international travelers can get. How much does it cost to get one of these visas? And maybe just a quick note about how you get them. Is it through the consulate? Can you do it online?
Actually, I don't know the exact cost of each visa, and I would like to add that things are changing daily. So I would urge everyone who's listening, if you are interested in going and finding out what the requirements are, you can just Google Royal Thai Embassy, Ottawa. You'll get their website, and all of the rules are indicated, as well as the cost. And please bear in mind that almost on a weekly basis, these conditions are changing. So what we would have seen perhaps 2 weeks ago is very different than what you see right now. So please, do check directly with them, and you will find the exact requirements and the cost attached to each type of visa.
Okay, that's amazing. I'll drop that link afterwards for everyone to be able to find out those costs. Christina has a great question here. Do destinations or tour operators market wellness tourism differently between women and men? Do you speak to groups differently based on those type of demographics and groups? And this is open to everyone. Anyone?
I would comment, I mean, not that we're selling packages like Wolf is or developing them, but I would say that we know that women are quite commonly the decision makers. So our visual is quite often directed towards females, right? But in Thailand, we find that wellness experiences have grown in importance for males as well. So it's something that both sexes are interested in.
I can add on behalf of the tour operators, being the representative of tour operating world here. Yes and no. We do market because we travel primarily in groups on our experiences. We do market in kind of one voice and one tone, but we do cater to female travelers. 64% of our travelers are female, so marketing look and feel, as Kayla mentioned, is skewed a little bit towards female decision maker. We also notice that there is a higher propensity for female solo travelers or for female-only groups, and we do cater to both. For individual solo travelers, we mark with a special symbol in all of our programs, which departures are solo traveler friendly, i.e., there is no single room supplement, or it is minimized to the best of our ability. Or if there is a group of female solo travelers and would like to travel together in some sort of either social bubble or health bubble, we certainly can take care of that too.
Okay, great answers there. Yeah, I'll move on to the next one. Ariane on Facebook is asking, she knows that many Asian and Southeast Asian countries use different foods to aid in different health conditions and ailments. Are there any countries that are offering food tours or kind of food experiences?
All the above.
You opened yourself up.
Who's first?
Yeah, food. I mean, yeah, food. I mean, for Malaysia, I mean, food is quintessential Malaysia. Really,
yeah.
food is our way of showing our hospitality. You know, and if you go back to traditional Malaysian food, it's all fresh. It's all organic. I mean, you know, it's organic seems something new to the rest of the world, but really, Malaysians have been practicing organic eating and organic lives from way back when. So really, eating fresh is something quite normal, something quite common in Malaysia, and the diversity as well. Again, you know, we're home to so many races, so food is in abundance, and it's so diverse. You're Malay, you're Chinese, you're Indian, and also. It's our way of showing our hospitality. Many Malaysians will come up to you and instead of saying, "Hey, how are you?" they will say, "Hey, are you hungry?" That's just the way Malaysians are. They'll invite you home for the very first day they meet you and share a meal with you. And that's very, very common. And I think that's true for most of Asia. So, you know, back to my Asian neighbors, Kayla, Randy.
All right, so Sandra, further to yours, one of the things that Koreans will often say with somebody that you're familiar with, someone that you know very well, it's you start with your standard greeting, you know, "Hey, how are you?" And the next question is always, "Have you eaten?" It is always the next question. Have you eaten? Food is a huge part of life in Korea. Is it part of our food tours? We just finished a food tour. We do live streaming food tours. We've got another one on the 22nd of December. They're very, very popular with not only consumers, but also for the trade partners that we have. Their food is a huge thing. But your specific question is asking about, are there any foods that aid in different health conditions or ailments? I'm going to refrain from answering that question in my personal feeling and just answer it this way. My mother-in-law thinks that every food is good for something. Garlic is good for one thing, and then this is good for another thing. And she'll tell you each individual thing as you're sitting at the table and putting it in your mouth, to the point where I've tuned everything out now. So I don't know what's good for what, because I've heard 100 different things. All I know is water and food are required for the survival of life. But I can get you a good guide if you'd like that will be able to explain all of that to you.
Awesome.
And I'll just add to it. For Thailand, we have every type of foodie tour that you can imagine. Thailand geographically is a small country. It's about the same size as the country of France, but there's 5 distinctive regions, and each region of the country has their own cuisine, their own special dishes. So you can go back to Thailand time and time again, and you'll always discover something new. So if someone is a foodie, they're into culinary, Thailand is a great choice. And just like Sandra and Randy said, organic, healthy food is just part of the culture there. So there's no issue whatsoever on that topic. Even if you're a vegan or you have allergies, it's possible to travel around Thailand. Yeah. And I will say that we have every price range of food, from simple street food, which is on every corner, all the way up to Michelin dining. So there's a lot available in all 3 of these countries.
Amazing. Getting hungry now. All right, so I know we're a little bit over time, but we just had so much great engagement. I want to bring this one in. It's a question that's about a similar experience to the Japanese hot spring slash onsen. Is there something similar in Korea? And I think we kind of touched on it, but I'm going to combine it with one of the questions I had, which was about jjimjilbangs, I think they're officially called. Randy, tell us a bit more about that. And kind of maybe a two-part here is that, like, do they exist in North America? Like, can you actually find a jjimjilbang in Canada or in North America in general?
Jimmy Kimmel Live in a Korean sauna. Look at the episode from LA. That'll explain the whole nakedness with the stranger we were talking about earlier. That'll explain the body scrubs. It goes through all of that. So yes, there are some places that they can be done in North America as well, of course. How the easiest way to describe the experience of it is there is the right side and there is the left side. You walk in on the right for the men or the left for the women. There is a small little locker for your shoes that would get locked away, and you would find your way into the change room where you would either A, go into one of the many hot tubs that are available or the body scrub rooms, or B, you can get changed into the t-shirt and shorts that they would put you in, and you can go into some of the sauna rooms as well. And the sauna rooms, they have different temperatures that are available for those as well. They'll have a TV room. They'll have a PC room where you can surf around and do business on the internet. You can, what were the other ones that they have? Some of them have like a movie theater set up. They do have a common room where you can have a nap if you want, or play cards with your friends. They have, there's a cafeteria, so you don't need to leave for food necessarily. And of course, if you go to certain ones, they'll walk you through the entire culture of Korean saunas, or jjimjilbangs as you're calling them, because that's the proper term for them. You're absolutely right. And so you get to wear the actual hat, just like they do. So it's a great picture taking experience. Remember, pictures in the common room only.
That sounds quite incredible. There's literally everything, and like you said, you could sleep in one. I love your note about Incheon Airport also has something similar. So as a stopover, you could, in theory, add that into your itinerary as you're switching to a different flight to somewhere else.
I've done it once before. It's a comfortable one. It's beats the closest hotel is probably a 10-minute bus ride at max away. It's not within the terminal. You would have to clear customs and immigration, but they do have a sauna or a jjimjilbang that is actually in the airport itself. And there's luggage storage for you as well. So again, everything would be taken care of. Everything is there for you.
Amazing. Alan, any kind of other lingering questions you might want to ask, or?
I think we've covered it all. I know we've gone a little bit over time, but so I guess just before we wrap up, are there any closing remarks, I guess, from all of our panelists? We'll start with Wolf.
I think it was really a great opportunity to talk to this panelist and this group of people, and I believe that Asia is such a layered destination, and that there is really something for absolutely every taste. The beauty or the silver lining in this situation where travel isn't really happening is that people are spending a lot more time researching and kind of working on their travel dreams and trying to translate them into plans. And I believe that Travel Massive, PATA have done a great job to really stir the inspiration here. As I've said, this medical invasive tourism sounds great. But I would also say, as a tour operator, I would like to assure all of our audience that we're all working in a very measured, in a very serious manner to absolutely ensure that we are back traveling when it is safe, when it is right, when it does not endanger neither the traveler nor transportation people nor the host destination and country. And if we have to wait, it is a fact of life, but we certainly will make sure that we do everything the way it should be done, as if we are taking care of ourselves and our own families.
Absolutely. Well, Sandra, do you have any remarks?
Yes, again, like Wolf said, this has been a fantastic opportunity, and like I'd like to thank Pata and Travel Massive, for organizing such a this discussion. It's been great to connect with industry colleagues, Kayla, Randy, and Alan, Wolf, and yes, I mean, for Malaysia, we're just waiting for international travel to happen again. But again, we will only move forward very cautiously, and we will move forward only if it is safe to do so. So, with that, I'd like to wish everyone happy holidays. And, I just cannot wait for 2020 to be over. So let's look forward to 2021 and hope that 2021 is just amazing. Let's make it amazing.
Yes, definitely. So Randy, you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, just before I give that though, somebody was asking on Facebook whether information about the December 22nd food tour. Go and check out our Facebook page. You'll find it on my profile. If you don't have my profile up, look for KTO Canada on the Facebook. You'll find our live stream information for that particular food tour that we're doing. It's a traditional Korean market that we're going through. Closing remarks, further to what Sandra and everybody else has already said, thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to come out and speak with you today. I do want to make one thing very, very clear, that if you are traveling to Thailand or Malaysia, the best way to get there is through Korea. For those who didn't catch that, it has to do with the fact that you don't have any direct flights to your destination, and so you have to come to Korea first.
Nice. Nicely done, Randy. Kayla?
Oh, we love you, Randy. Such a great suggestion. I know. What I would say is, it seems like it's been such a very long year with everything that we've gone through. And I believe there's one lesson that we've all learned. It's not only the importance of wellness from a physical aspect, but the mental aspect has become increasingly more evident and more important. So I believe that 2021 has to be a much better year. And I really look forward to celebrating that with all of you once again. But just as a closing remark, just as all my colleagues mentioned, I'd like to thank you for giving us this opportunity to be here and to share some information on our destinations. And thank you to each and every one of you for all of the support you've given us through good times and bad. And we truly look forward to welcoming you to our destinations in the future, as well as to experiencing some of Wolf's wonderful tours that he's mentioned today. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Very
So
closing
now-
remarks. Well, I'm going to jump in. Excuse me. I'm going to jump in and something that I know some of you guys have been really excited about are the prize giveaways. So all of the panelists here have been gracious to put together 2 prize packs per destination. So what I've done prior to the start of this live stream is that I picked random winners for each destination. So I will connect everyone once this is over, but I'm going to announce the winners right now. So we're going to do maybe small drum roll here, if anyone can even hear that. But Kayla,
Okay.
with Tourism Authority of Thailand, we have Bernard Backel and Chris Rial. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names here, but congratulations. Randy with the KTO, we have Jocelyn Black and Ursula Maxwell Lewis for winning. So congratulations. From Wolf and Trafalgar and Cost Savers, we have Wendy Underwood and Elaine Smith. Congratulations. And finally, Sandra with Tourism Malaysia. We have Leah Kowitsky and Doreen Wharton. Congratulations, guys. To close things off, you guys did such a great job. I don't know if I could top it, but I mean, I got to thank all of you guys for being part of today's panel. We had such incredible conversations and discussions about wellness tourism. Thank you, Alan, for hosting. And hopefully we'll be able to do a lot more with Pata down the road, especially in person as we open things up and we can have in-person events here in Toronto. And thank you as well for the audience for being part of this and asking amazing, engaging questions, and being part of that conversation. So things are looking up in 2021, it sounds like, especially with wellness being a big part of it. And now that we know more about it, I will definitely be keeping a keen eye on how things develop and learning more about wellness travel. So if you guys want to rewatch any of this, this will all be up as a replay on the Travel Massive event page. So look for it there. Happy holidays to you all. Happy Festivus. And we'll see you guys next year.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well,
Happy
Yeah.
holidays.
thanks,
Bye.
Will. Thank you, Travel Massive. Thank you, everyone. And well, one more thing. If anybody needs any information on anything that you've heard today, or you want to get connected with a tour operator that can get you to do any of these, you can contact us at info@patacanada.com, and we'll be able to connect you to the right people. So yes, anyways, have happy holidays. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you all on the other side.
Be well.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.